Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Speak to Spirit. I am your host, 𝐥𝐢𝐤𝐤, and I help ambitious professionals to realize the higher purpose and meaning of their lives. As part of our Declutter Your Life program, I'm interviewing professionals in the areas of decluttering our bodies, our homes, and our relationships. This week, we're focused on decluttering our homes, and I have a special guest, Lisa Malone, here to talk about how to organize and clutter clear out our spaces. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Yay, so happy to have you with us. And I love your background with your closet behind you. It's such a great example of what you do, and you actually embody what you teach. And this is Lisa's home, and she's a super organized person herself, and she knows what she's doing. So I love it.
Yes, yes. Yeah, the what I realized through the whole process, because I only became a professional organizer 3 years ago, is I am calm on the inside when my outside is calm and organized. You will know when I am super stressed because my house has never looked better. Sometimes people say it's a procrastination tactic, but no, it's like I need to breathe, and to breathe is a open, organized space. So it's been
Yes.
quite an awesome path. Yeah.
Oh, so true, so true. All right, I'm going to share a little bit more information about Lisa before we dive into the interview, just to give you a little background on what she specializes in. Lisa is a professional organizer and the co-founder of You Have Arrived. Watching families struggle to manage home, work, and family during COVID is what influenced her to start her professional organizing business. As her business evolved, she found a unique niche in helping women prioritize themselves by transforming their wardrobe, creating dedicated spaces to recharge, and building their confidence as a result. I love that. I love that. And you already shared a little bit about how it's helped you to have more peace of mind. Can you talk more about that? Like how is this going to help us in other areas of our lives besides just having an organized space in our home?
Well, what I've experienced in working with clients is that everyone is taken care of but mom. Mom puts everyone first. She's okay with putting herself last. The kids have, their sports and they're coordinating all the things, and they have the clothes that they need and the, sports equipment, and no dig on the husband, but the husband thinks like a man, getting things done, and he needs time off. He takes time off for himself, golfing, whatever hobby it is, reading the paper, anything. And the mom is always, scurrying around worrying about other people. So I've tried to put an emphasis on taking a moment to step back to recharge yourself. So in my house, forever I had set up an area that did not have a TV in it because I don't want the noise of a television, and I don't want people coming in to bother me. So usually it was the living room, right? No one uses the living room. So I would take a book in there, I would sit down, and no one would even find me in there, even though we had a circular space, because no one thought to look there because no one ever uses that room. And it kind of was like, I call it the oasis.
Hmm.
So I set up an oasis for myself in every area, just kind of to step back and be able to recharge. So in my bedroom, it's a reading corner. Some women turn their closet into their space and put a chair in there and go into it to kind of reflect. But all of it involves, decluttering and having that open space and just being calm on the outside, helping make calm on the inside.
Wow, that's beautiful. And I never thought about having an oasis in every room, like having a space in every room that's kind of like your timeout space. And you talk about moms and women in general, just being taught to put everybody else ahead of them. And the connection between how we have our homes and our spaces and how we feel on the inside is a really great reflection and something to think about, and maybe something for our listeners to think about and to look around at your home and how well are you caring for your own space, and have you created those sacred spaces, is what I call them, sacred
Yeah.
spaces to just chill. And I also love that you don't have a TV in your living room. I have one and it never goes on. So it's like, why do we even have one? It's occasionally the kids will watch the Disney Channel, but it basically just sits there like collecting dust.
Right.
But yeah, and can you talk more about that, like with the noise, the noise of
Yes.
the outside world, and how we can declutter our mind more when we're in our homes?
Yeah, so you taught me this is, when you're driving in the car, turn off the music, like give yourself time to think and breathe and appreciate nature and the light and sunshine. And it made me think more about that. How do you put your phone down? the constant, and it's a reflex, right? So training yourself to have a quiet space and to meditate. And I was like the worst until recently in meditating, just closing my eyes and breathing and thinking and relaxing and letting, it go. And just, it's a moment. It can be a moment. It can be a couple minutes. I know every mom's busy, and I have a niece and a nephew that I love to have to myself. But honestly, the Lisa, Aunt Lisa, Aunt Lisa, Aunt Lisa, I'm like, I hear you. I'm here for you. They're like, oh, right. Okay. And I enjoy their energy. But as a mother, and I have 4 boys, they're just older. And so I remember that time, and it's just, you have to carve out time for yourself. Every Mother's Day, since Mother's Day is upon us, I would request to be alone. And I was like, well, dads get to be alone. They get to go golfing on Father's Day. Like, why can't mothers be alone? I just want no one to talk to me. I want to go to the library and read a book. Like, I don't need to spend money on a spa. I just want peace, quiet, reflective time, just to recharge. And then you're a better mother. You're a better partner. You're a better friend, if you just have that time alone and you're not spread so thin, you're frantic.
Yeah, I remember one Mother's Day I requested, my kids were probably 2 and 3 at the time, and my husband asked what did I want, and I said time by myself, like I want to sleep in, I just want to relax. And he made this beautiful meal for me, and I never came out of the bedroom to get it. And he was like, I didn't know if I should go in and knock or what, but I was just like, I needed that quiet time, and it was such a blessing to have it and to be like to gift it to myself. And I didn't even want to come out to eat. I was like, I'm good. Like, I'm just going to stay in here and,
Yeah.
peace and quiet. And yeah, that reminder, how can we carry that into other areas of our lives? If you do have those little ones, or your, your job's really demanding, or your clients are reaching out to you, or your spouse is demanding, or your pets, or all of the things and responsibilities you
Everything.
have, right? It's all over. And talk to us more about clutter. Like, if you've noticed that you've developed clutter in your home, how can you start? Like, how can you just start that process of decluttering?
Well, first of all, clutter is emotional, right? So you're emotionally attached to items, whether you know it or not. You are either relating to that piece or feel guilty because someone gave it to you, or it's a hand me down from someone, or your mother, the darn china that everyone seems to have everywhere. No one's going to use it again, and it's okay to appreciate it and let it go. The the thing to remember is that you wear or use 20% of your items 80% of the time. So it's possible to get rid of, depending on the space, 50 to 60% of your stuff. And that seems like, panic time, but really it's just, no one I've worked with, as emotional as it was to let the stuff go, has ever regretted doing it. No one has ever wished that they had not thrown away that one thing, or not donated it, or not given it up. And so, to make it easier for yourself to get rid of things, find places that maybe you can give things to that are more environmental, like a local charity or something, if Goodwill isn't your thing. But sometimes I just say to clients, make it easier for yourself, not harder. When you are doing a huge purge, or trying to tackle a space, move it along. Don't overthink it. Just take it where it's easy, like the parking lot at your school, who takes, shoes and clothes or books or whatever they may do. So your goal is not to overwhelm yourself. Start with one space. Put things immediately into baskets. When the basket or bag or box is full, stop and leave with it. Don't let it drive around in your car for, months. Because it's a physical and emotional challenge. I'll also add that. So when you look at a space and you're like, where do I even start? Just start in a corner, or start, as you walk into the room, anywhere that you can have 2 bags, donate, trash, and then keep, just move it to the side, because you've gone through it. And that's how you get through every space. It's the same kind of formula.
Beautiful. Yeah, and it like I love how you explain it, like baby steps, like just start in a corner rather than looking around like, oh my gosh,
Right.
there's so much in here. Where do I and how do you help people who have, because if you're doing this process by yourself, it's just like working out. When you work out alone without a group, it can be very challenging to get motivated. I know that's why I have a personal trainer, because I want to see Lindsay. When I see her, when I hear the other women, I'm more motivated. What do you recommend for people? How can they get motivated to start, maybe when they, when they feel emotional or they're like, oh, and then they stop doing it. How can you help them overcome that? Like, what are some
Yeah.
things you do to help people overcome that?
Yes. So there's a couple of things. I have a large network of folks who offer declutter courses. I've got a purging guide on my website. It's all in how you want to work. So like you were saying, you love working out with a personal trainer. I love doing on-demand videos in my basement because I push play. It's less pressure to walk, get in the car and leave than it is just to walk down the stairs. And that works for me. And some people need to leave to go to a group in person because they need that pressure or, whatever it takes. There's a bunch of different ways to do it to get the support you need. There's courses that you can take online. I offer a course called You Have Arrived, and we specifically go through how to identify your personal style and then use that vision boarding process to take that map, is what we call it. The vision board is the map to go into your closet and figure out what to keep and what to let go. You in this particular course, we want you to let go of your old self. So if you used to be a school teacher, I used to be in corporate. I kept all my corporate clothes because what if I might need them one day? And this is funny because it's me. And this literally just happened 2 years ago. Is I work with a personal stylist who collaborated with me on this course to deliver it. And I was like, get rid of all these skirts. I don't need these corporate skirts anymore. I never like wearing skirts anyway. And she's like, no, keep the skirt, wear it with a t-shirt, throw a jean jacket on with it and some wedges. And you have a outfit for date night, which was my goal, is to have the medium between corporate and the joggers that I wore to organize work in.
Right.
So it's amazing what motivates you, and what you then see as a result. So good question is the answer to your question, but there's a lot of different ways. And that in itself can become overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm trying to do also is create a curated list of local in-home organizers, cleaning companies, stylists, interior designers, and stagers to help people who want help in the home. So I started a directory recently called In-Home Boutique Spaces as well, just to fill that gap between who needs local help and how do you find your local person and all that. So between the online courses, the DIY checklists, and the in-home places, in-home services, there's so much you can do to get started.
Mhm. Beautiful. Yeah, and I think I was listening to, I can't remember who it was online. They were saying that, as you, I think it was Bob Proctor, as you clear the space, you're going to create space for what you want next. So if you donate, I had $300 shoes that my stylist friend recommended that I get. And I was like, at the time I was feeling very abundant, but I was still like, $300 for shoes. I'll do it because I deserve it. It'll make me feel good. I never wore the shoes. They weren't me. They were uncomfortable. They just sat in my closet, and I had a hard time getting rid of them because I spent $300 on them. So I decided I am abundant. I can bless somebody else with these shoes. So I put them in my car. I was going to donate them. And then my friend works for Poshmark and she's like, I'll take the shoes. And that worked out. And that felt so good. And that helped me to feel more abundant too.
Yeah.
Rather than waiting to sell it or doing a yard sale or anything like that, I was like, you know what? I'm going to bless somebody else with this, this will make their day. And I got to see it right there. I got to see the reaction of this woman who was so excited, to have these pair of shoes. But can you talk more about that? Like, how can it help us, improve our abundance, like creating more space for what we desire in our lives?
Yes. And so that is a great point. The money has already been spent. So the guilt that you feel about spending it and not using it weighs very, very heavy. So if you can move that forward and move it out, it's amazing the feeling it gives for you when you walk into the space. Everyone says after I'm done organizing with them, I feel like I can finally breathe again, because it is emotional. And you think I made a mistake, that inner voice is talking to you about how poorly a decision you made and all of these things. Just say to yourself, this was worth it at the time. I was excited at the time. Now I'm moving it on. I'm helping someone else. And there are so many people in need who don't have all the things that we have and that we take for granted. So it's really nice to share that too and kind of focus on those feelings and moving forward than the guilt or shame or whatever that inner voice might be telling you.
Yeah, beautiful. So good. And what tips do you recommend for managing smaller spaces?
So again, it's about the stuff. So, I like to share the story with clients. If you had a gallon container and you filled it with water, it would only fit a gallon of water. But in a closet or in a space, you can stuff it and make it unmovable. So the challenge is I'm sorry, not unmovable, impenetrable. So like it can be stuffed full that you cannot walk into a space in a smaller space. Your kitchen drawer, for example, when it's overstuffed because you cannot open the drawer. Look, you have to give stuff up. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And to give it up, so you've got, I don't know, those dreaded potato mashers, whisks, spatulas. You only use one spatula at a time. And you know what? If it's dirty and you need it again, wash it. Don't keep two. So it's the space, right? So I have some clients who are like, oh my God, you have to come over. I'm so unorganized. I don't have any space. And I realize they have plenty of space. It's just it's not maximized. For one, I had a client where you couldn't walk into her closet because all the clothes were on the floor and she was overwhelmed to walk into it. So I picked up all the clothes on the floor and I had her sort through them and I just hung them all up. There's plenty of room in the hanging once she purged, but the problem getting in the room was just it was on the floor. So there's those boundaries too. So in a smaller space, do you want the space or do you want the item? And people always want the space. So it's kind of a question you can ask yourself. And in my purging guide, I have all the questions you can ask yourself, like, when have you used it? Why do you have multiples? Is another reason for organizing is I never realized when I moved to my new house 3 years ago that I had 4 screen kits to rescreen a window. 4. It's because when I needed to rescreen a window, I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
So I bought another one, and then I couldn't find that. So I bought another one. And I finally organized the garage, and I'm like, this happens everywhere. You think, oh, I need something to wear. I have an event this weekend. You look at your closet, it's packed. You're like, I can't find anything. Like, I have a closet full of clothes and nothing to wear. You go to the store, you come back, and you've got like whatever blouse or shell or sweater or whatever. You put it in your closet, and you put it right next to all the other ones you have, just like it, that you forgot that you had. Yeah. So small spaces, large spaces, find what you love and keep what you love and use what you have. And then when you're discovering all these things that you forgot you had, incorporate those into your activities. And here's what's interesting about the money. You end up spending less money down the road because you stop buying multiple items, so you let go of things. The money's already spent and gone. Like, let's move on. You're moving forward. You want to be more intentional with your purchases. You don't want to buy something you already have. When you realize you have a ton of the same thing, pick out the real good ones you like or that aren't tattered or torn or stained or what have you. And then just really focus on those, and you'll start wearing more than what you had before. And all of a sudden you'll start having a little bit more fun with things. And, the possibilities are endless, but the money is saved. The time is saved because you're not looking for things and struggling. You're not frustrated. You're not trying to get the kids out while you're doing all the things and everything's lost because you don't have a place for your keys. I mean, I could go on. The benefits for organizing and decluttering your spaces are amazing.
Beautiful. And so once you've done this work, let's say people work through your course or they've worked with you individually, and now everything is organized and it's great. How do you recommend they stay like that? How can they maintain being clutter free?
So organizing maintenance is like anything, exercise, dieting. When you get to that spot where you love to be, you cannot never do it again, right? You have to maintain. But because you've put everything in sections. So if you look at my closet here, my jackets, so these are a little color coded on the top here to go with outfits, but I put it back because it's easier to figure out where first of all, it's easier to do laundry because you can put things back very easily versus struggling and having a pile of laundry because there's no space in between the hangers to put the thing. And so it never gets hung up again. But the clothes that are in the laundry basket are the ones you actually wear. The ones on the hanger are the ones you don't wear. So start there, get rid of all those or, whatever, go through a lot of them. But that's the maintenance, is tidy on a regular basis. And because things are organized, it's easier to tidy. So let's talk about a family room, for example. I like to tidy at the end of every night because I'd like to wake up in the morning without all the stuff in there. And right now for us, it's like dog toys, blankets that we had on the couch, any sort of a cup or a bowl that was used from the night before, I just move it into the kitchen. I don't spend a tremendous amount, but just a few minutes as I'm going through the house. It helps me and it makes me happy. Some people do it in the morning. Some people will do it once a week. Some people do it. My kids would always complain, why do we have to clean before the cleaning ladies come? And I remind them, we are not cleaning. You are picking up your stuff. Your stuff is on the ground. It doesn't belong on the ground. No one but you needs to pick up the stuff that you threw there. And I use the help of a cleaning company to do the vacuuming and the toilets and all of that, because as a mother, I can only take on so many roles in the house. And that's where I chose to outsource to support those businesses for my family. But I was not letting my family out of it doing the work.
Yeah.
You made the mess, you pick up the mess. And we go through, purging and all that other stuff. I mean, throw your stuff in the garbage. It's not that hard. Don't get me started. 4 boys, husband, dog, right? It's amazing how they're like, what? I didn't see it. It's like, yeah, your garbage is on the ground. It needs to make the garbage can. Tip. Here's a tip. Put a garbage can in every room of the house because it will make it easier. So I'm going to out my brother for a second. I won't say which one. He uses tissues and sets them next to him. Drove his wife crazy. I said, you have to put a garbage can right next to the chair he likes to sit in. And she did. And he put it in the garbage can. But it's like, I mean, I know you ladies know, it's like kids, husbands, partners, who knows, roommates. People don't, obviously, they're not going to, you can't fix them, but you can make things a little bit easier to make it go a little bit better for you. That's how I like to do it.
Yeah, and to me that's just common sense of having a trash can in every room of the house because my mom did. We kind of recreate how our families were. But I actually dated a man one time who did not own a trash can. He did, and I would walk around with trash in my hand, and he would put it in beer boxes. That was it. And I'm like, what are we in college? Like it was
Right.
very strange, but he was also very unorganized. So that was an indication of a lot of other things going on. But to me, it's just common sense. But I guess if you weren't raised that way, and you did, grow up in a home that was more messy, or my mom always put everything away at the end of the day. So that's how I grew up. And then my husband was the same way. So we had a home like that. And I still do because that is kind of how I was trained, in a way. But let's say somebody came from a family, that was really messy and they would just leave their clothes all over the floor or not do their dishes. Like, how can those people, start to change their habits to be more
Yeah,
clutter free?
yes, that's a lot of how my clients are is in that challenge. And I grew up in a very messy home. So I think that's why I like the organized space. I feel like my brothers and I, well, the brothers are a little bit more of a mess, obviously, from my other example, but it bothers me to come into a space and have that because it was like we had a dog that shed a ton and my mom never vacuumed. And it's like you're embarrassed when you're in high school and you come home and you want your friends to come over, but you're like, I can't show them this is how we live, when their houses are, in my opinion, nicer than ours and all of that. It wasn't shame as much as it was just, I wanted to portray how I felt on the inside, on the outside, organized, but anyway, it helped me. So there are things with my clients that they feel the same way. Their kids are overwhelmed. And this is another thing too. When you grow up a certain way without, and you want to have your children experience a different childhood, sometimes parents overcorrect. They didn't have things, so they want their kids to have everything that they want. But when kids have everything they want, they don't appreciate what they have. And they're also extremely overwhelmed with clutter. So it's not fun for them. They don't know what to play with. They play with things sporadically because they don't have the time or the space they're overstimulated and they don't have the space to really dig deep to play with the train set for an hour using their imagination and creativity. They've got, every time they look around, something else is jumping at them or something sparkly is over here and they're all over the place. And when you notice your kids going to school and being so behaved, my kids were this way. I would come in, they were toddlers at a preschool. And I'm like, I said to the teacher, what are they doing? She goes, this is table time. They take a toy off the shelf and they sit down at the table and they play with it till they're done and they put it back. And I'm like, what? How do you make them do that? Is there a whip? Like, is there punishment? She's like, no, this is our routine. It's simple, it's structured. And I'm like, I get it. Okay. So toy rotation is something that we talk about with parents with kids. Like, give them less. Everyone wants less. They just think they want more because they're reacting, or they see something on sale, or that they think that little Johnny needs all of these things. Little Johnny does not need all of these things. Little Johnny doesn't remember yesterday, right? So
And
anyway,
kids are just like adults, like with their clothes, like they go for the same few things,
right,
right? Like
absolutely.
my kids are older now, so they love their iPads, but there's so many things in their room that they never touch, and they just and now I'm inspired to go clutter clear, their rooms when they're not here.
Yeah. Well, here's what you should do, because a child will always be honest.
Yeah.
Whether you want them to say what they're saying or not, if you hold up an outfit and say, will you ever wear this? And they say no, do not try to convince them. Oh, but I got this for you for your birthday, and you will be so cute in it. And, or grandma bought this for you, they will, if they will never wear it, it will sit in there. I mean, do yourself a favor, because they'll be out of it in no time anyway. Move it along. Other children in need would love to have that outfit. But I mean, my kids are like, no, it's too itchy. No, it's too tight. No, I don't like the color. No, the fabric bothers me. You know, any go. And replace things that get tattered. That's easy, because you help them pick it out, have them help you pick it out, so that they will wear it. I mean,
Yeah. And I feel like with kids too, their rooms, they spend so much as they get older, they spend a lot more time in their rooms for privacy. And to me, I'm just realizing now that it would help them rest better with less clutter in their rooms, because the rest of my house is uncluttered, but their things I leave to them because they're older now, and they have more authority over their things. But I feel like it helping like start this process, like you said, kids are honest and they'll tell you if they still want something or not. And talking about how it can help other kids if we donate things, and helping them to rest better in this space too,
yeah.
because kids now are so stressed, at school and with their friendships, and there's so much anxiety that I don't remember feeling as a child or experiencing as I do with my own children, seeing that. So I think clutter clearing with them too, and involving them in the process could be really empowering for them and help them to rest more in their spaces, because they need an oasis too.
Yes, agreed. So one of the things with kids, no matter what age, if you send them to their room and say clean it, they won't get anywhere, because it's overwhelming, just like to you. So even going in and being, let's pick up 10 things that you no longer wear, so we can just kind of clear the space and give you more room to be creative. Flatter them and tell them how wonderful they are when they're creative, and think, whatever it may be that you find in them that they may not see in themselves. One of the exercises that I do with my kids, and this is kind of a side story, is when we were brushing teeth, because with boys, it's like that's a hard thing to remind them. We would be in the mirror, and I would say, I want you to say something you like about yourself. And they would be, well, I don't know. I'm like, all right, well, let's talk about how strong we are, and how we can see, and our eyesight is good, and when we can see, we can read. And so we start, and it's funny because they do that now to friends who don't have confidence. They drag them in front of the mirror and like, I need you to tell me 3 things you love about yourself, and they're like, and then I would always say, let me start. So it's the same thing with organizing. When you bring them in the room, say, what do you want to pick up? I don't know. Well, let me start. What about this? I don't remember you wearing this, or this looks broken. What about, or this looks like something you haven't played with in a while. Maybe we can donate that. You always are so kind to your friends. There are so many kids out there who, don't have the things that you have. This would be something that they would find so amazing. And you're gotten so much older, and you're doing so many more fun things, and, that kind of thing, just have that conversation with them, and they'll all of a sudden be, you're right. I do, but I am bigger and older and smarter, and, doing more things. And, it just get them thinking creatively.
I love that. I think too with kids that, a lot of times it's actually the parents that are afraid to let go of things. Like it's the parents that
Oh,
there's
yes.
emotional feelings around these, toys that they used to play with. And like my kids now don't play with toys anymore.
Right.
And it makes me sad. So then I'll just leave the item there because I'm like, oh, but I loved when they would color, or and like you said, if they don't want to do it anymore, it's not something that they feel called to do, like letting that go, and maybe it's evolving to like a sketch pad or, paint or something else that also is creative outlet, but not the coloring book. And just because we're emotionally attached to it, that's kind of creating clutter and heaviness for the kids that isn't even theirs.
Yes.
So much is coming to me in this conversation. I love this topic, and I love the work that you do, and the passion you have for it. I can feel it, and I know you care so deeply about your clients. And I'm so happy to be connected with you. And thank you for doing this interview with me. And if people want to learn more from you, how can they stay in touch with you and learn more?
Yes. So my website is lisa-malone.com. And the You Have Arrived course is youhavearrived.net. I'll give you all my information because I'm on Instagram with both accounts. I'm on Facebook with both accounts. Um, yeah, there's lots of ways to get in touch with me. And we're having a special right now. It's Mother's Day. So if you sign up for the course You Have Arrived, it's 20% off. I'll put the code, give you the code so you can add it. And everyone who signs up for Mother's Day also gets a free personal style session with the personal stylist that I created the course with. So it's a really unique opportunity to put yourself first. And again, we're creating a roadmap so you can go into your closet and edit it and, have the new, your path forward, kind of claim that for yourself. Figure out what you want to look like, how you want to be perceived, how you want to conquer the next few years of your life.
Beautiful. And I have been to Lisa's event, and I'm working through her course right now, and I can say that it's very helpful and motivating and fun, and makes it like easy to work through. So I definitely recommend Lisa's programs and working with her. And yeah, I'm so happy we got to do this together. Thank you so much for being with us, Lisa.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Thank you. And thank you everybody for listening. Next week, we're going to be talking about decluttering your love relationships. So tune in for next week, and make sure to share this video with anybody you think it could be helpful for. If you have, friends that you feel like, could use some help with decluttering or just organizing their space to feel less stressed, just send this video to them. Make sure to subscribe to our channel so you get notified when the next videos go live too. All right, everyone, thanks for being here. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.